What makes community development financial institutions, or CDFIs, different is that they actually came out of the civil rights movement. So after the end of the civil rights movement, they said, okay, we have legal equality for all of these different people groups, but we still have all of these disparities from all of these years they've been historically excluded or disinvested in. How are we going to help these communities catch up? How are we going to generate financial and generational wealth? And so CDFIs as an industry started as a movement.
Access Plus Capital is a CDFI, a Community Development Financial Institution, which is not a bank, but it is an organization that makes loans to small businesses. A CDFI's mission is to help you get your business idea off the ground or to the next level by providing needed capital. And they do not have to underwrite the loan in the same way a bank does. They specialize in lending to startups and existing businesses where that business or startup may not quite qualify for a business loan from a bank. They also provide startup services and business coaching that you'll certainly not find from a bank. So stay tuned as Amanda and I talk to Raquel Jimenez, Buffy Norby, and Janelle Warren Evans from Access Plus Capital.
Welcome back to the Our 2 Cents podcast, the show where your local professionals sit down with an array of guests to hear their story and impart some wisdom for both business and life-improving skills. This is your place to hear business and community leaders discuss relevant topics that matter to you.
And welcome to the show today. My name is Scott Hansen. I'm joined by my co-host today, Amanda DiGiacomo. Thank you for downloading or streaming our podcast, and be sure to hit the subscribe button on your podcast player so you never miss an episode. If you hit subscribe on the podcast player, the next episode will download for you right when it becomes available, right into the podcast app, so that when you're ready to listen to the next one, it's just right there waiting for you. Also, check us out on Instagram and shoot us a DM sometime. Let us know how much you like the show. And now, Raquel, Buffy, Janelle, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Oh yeah, thank you for having us.
So Access Plus Capital is not a bank, and I think that's maybe a good place to start because we're going to be talking a lot about lending, entrepreneurial borrowing, but yet you're not a bank. So maybe we can start there and describe a little bit the high-level overview of what Access Plus Capital is.
Yeah, thanks. Well, no, definitely. We're not a bank. We are what you call a CDFI in true nonprofit format. We've got a bunch of letters that don't make any sense to anybody that is outside of the nonprofit industry, so I can break it down for you. That's a Community Development Financial Institution. Now, what makes community development financial institutions, or CDFIs, different is that they actually came out of the civil rights movement. So after the end of the civil rights movement, they said, okay, we have legal equality for all of these different people groups, but we still have all of these disparities from all of these years they've been historically excluded or disinvested in. How are we going to help these communities catch up? How are we going to generate financial and generational wealth? And so CDFIs as an industry started as a movement. They said, well, we need to take this capital, we need to get it into these communities. How are we going to do that? Well, let's create something that's not a bank, but that can still make loans, community lending, that can get this money to the people that need it so that they can start to create their own businesses, serve their communities, and generate wealth for their families. A business is an appreciable asset. So let's help them create more assets.
So this has been around a long time, this concept of the CDFIs. And in Bakersfield and locally here in Kern County, has it been active for a long time?
Yes. As far as Access Plus Capital goes, we were here since 2008. Okay. So since the time of our inception, we've been serving the entire Central Valley. So we've been here at Bakersfield, and we're still here. We're excited to serve.
Okay. And so if it's not a bank, what backs these loan funds? How does the structure work? Is it a grant or...
We get loans as grants from other lending organizations. So we'll get grants and we get loans. So sometimes we'll get very, very low interest loans, and then we can lend that money out at a low interest as well. Unlike a traditional bank, we're not out to make a profit. We're out to take care of the community. So we don't have to have large interest rates, high interest rates, to be able to serve our clients and our customers. We don't have to make a profit. We can keep the interest rates low and serve the businesses that have had a harder time getting business loans. I mean, historically, there's been lots of populations that have been excluded, and so we can help them and do fair funding. So that's an important priority of ours.
And so what is kind of the right size of business or the right candidate that fits perfectly in your wheelhouse for your organization and your loan? Because a lot of people will start at a bank and they might get turned down from the bank, but they also might be able to be served by the bank. So where do you guys come in, and what entrepreneur, business starter would come to you guys over the bank?
So what we do is our target for us, our biggest target is to serve our Latino community, our Black community, Asian community, and women-owned business. We look for the rural areas. So we want to target those rural areas where we have these business owners that struggle to get that lending from the financial institutions, but also give them that boost. So they all have a relationship with the bank. They have their bank accounts and they potentially been their clients for many years. But a lot of times they require to have 2 years of business history, for example, 2 years of taxes. And a lot of these clients don't. These clients that have, now that dream of doing a food truck, for example, these clients that have been working from home or selling their items online, now they want to expand their business. And we just give them that boost so they can keep that relationship with their financial institution. What we're doing is helping them boost that business credit or that business history. So when they go to the bank now, the bank is offering now them, other services like a business credit card. But we look for anyone who is a startup business, existing businesses, from 1 employee to 100 of employees. We do enterprise loans, real estate loans. If that business owner now wants to move from a food truck to a restaurant now, and they're looking for a real estate property now to buy that restaurant. So we serve all types. We do from $5,000 loans to up to $500,000 loans.
Okay. I'm sure that there is an application process. Is it as strict as a bank application process would be, or is it very similar to a banking process? Because I think a lot of people are probably familiar with what it takes a lot of times to go into a bank and get a loan, and it just sounds like this daunting process that nobody wants to go through, right? Like, forget it, I don't even need the money that bad. But do you guys make that a little easier on them?
Yes, and that's one of I love what I do because I'm able to give those resources, things that the bank doesn't give them. So for example, if we do a startup loan, we would request a business plan along with business projections. And with those 3 years of projections, we're able to help them with that business. So we have nothing behind you. This is a person who has a vision and has a dream for their business and has started doing something and has already injected a little bit of their own money, right? And they have this dream, and now we want to put it in a business plan, and we hear their business plan, and we help them, assist them doing those projections. So that's one of the parts that we help for our startups, where we don't ask for those 2-3 years of business taxes because we know that they don't have it.
So I understand that you guys do different types of loans within the organization: nano loans, micro loans, enterprise loans. Maybe we can start with just nano loans, and you can just let us know kind of what the rundown is, and let's run through a couple of these and give us maybe just some basic criteria. It doesn't have to be down to every bullet point, but just some general criteria that people would know maybe where they fall in. Or do they fall into the enterprise level? Do they fall into the nano level? Let's start with nano.
So with the nano loan, it can be anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000. There's no collateral needed. The interest rate is 8.25%. And then you have to have a minimum credit score of 550. Now, with a minimum credit score of 550, you're only going to be able to borrow the $5,000. The higher the dollar amount, the higher the credit score is going to vary. And then the nano loan is really good to get that one small piece of equipment that just broke or something that you don't really need a big loan for. One of the other things about the nano loan is the fact that there's no penalties to pay it back. So if you borrow $10,000 just to have working capital in the bank in case something happens, and you figure in a year you don't need it, you can actually pay the loan off, and there's no penalties for paying it off early. There's actually no penalties with any of our loans. So
wonderful. And so up from nano would be micro, I'm just assuming. Is that just a larger version of a nano?
Yes, so that one we go up to 50,000.
Okay.
5,000.
Similar criteria, but a higher dollar amount. And maybe I can ask kind of a dumb question. Do you ever have somebody where they get approved for like 50,000, but you only release 20,000 now, and then Buffy comes to see you in a couple quarters, and then you release more, or do they come back and reapply with you?
They would have to reapply.
Okay, and so are they coming back for the same type of loan, or do you have people who kind of go through the different loan types? They start in the nano and then move through, yeah.
Yes, correct. We look at what you are wanting to purchase. You know, if it's expansion, if it becomes an enterprise loan could also, those can vary between 50 and up. So
with the enterprise loans now are collateralized, right? So we've done nano and micro, and then now enterprise loans and real estate loans require some type of collateral, right?
So for let me just go back up a little bit. For the micro loan, one thing that I like about that, you can go up to 50,000, and we only ask for a 1 year tax return.
Okay.
So that's awesome. So your first year, you're doing awesome, and now you have that opportunity to show us your taxes for just 1 year, and be able to give you up to $50,000 for that business expansion that you need. Then we go for the enterprise loans over 50,000. Back again, you're doing that expansion, you're needing the equipment. Then we go into the real estate, and for that now, you've been in business for maybe over a year, 2 years now. If you're looking at over $50,000, potentially we're going to ask for that, a collateral. Mm-hmm. If you own a home or a collateral on equipment that you're going to be purchasing, for example, that can be a form of collateral as well.
The title to that equipment could be the collateral.
Correct.
And then I believe you mentioned too that there is a way to have your already equity that's already been invested to serve as maybe not collateral, but as part of like a down payment essentially on the loan.
Correct. Yeah. A lot of our startup loans work like that.
Okay.
Where they're startups. You already probably 6 months in, you already injected or put in 5,000, 10,000 of your own money. So we grab that and we use that as a down payment. So you're saying, hey, that equipment, that kitchen, that food truck is going to cost me about 50,000. I already put in 10,000 of my own money. Great, because we asked for that 20% down. And that 20% down, we're going to use that injection that you already put in. Mm-hmm. You already put in $10,000 of that money. So that's great. We physically don't look for that money, that down payment in a form of liquid asset.
One thing I loved when I heard about your guys' program is that you are working with the Women's Business Center or people like myself who owns an accounting firm. Not only are you utilizing them and internal systems to create a business plan, but also like those people who have been in business for a few years, okay, let's outsource, let's get your bookkeeping and taxes done so we can get you these funding and loans and things like that. So I think you guys are like the middle piece that's connecting like everybody in the financial institution.
And I talked a little bit about that startup and those existing business owners. It just makes me happy that they started their business. Now they're doing expansions to their business, and we are here to help them with that expansion. I opened 2 years ago. I have not built that business credit. I'm expanding, and this is where we come in and say, definitely we can help you. Let's just review those 2 years of taxes. So just to know that our loans, it makes me really happy that as a business development manager, I get to review your financials, but also your loan gets processed not through a computer that says approve or deny. Our loans get processed through a loan committee. We see your story. We see what your dream is in that business. And startup or 2 years in business or 5 years in business, we see what your story is. And we have, a committee that looks at that.
You're not just a number.
Yeah.
Right? You're a person with an idea and with a plan.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about Access Plus Capital, and the reason why I started working with them, is because of the fact is if you go to a traditional bank, you have to fit into a box. With Access Plus Capital, you don't have to fit into that box. We make that box fit you. So we'll work with you. We'll help you with your business plan. We'll help you with your projections if you're a startup. If you're an existing business and you just need that $5,000 because some equipment just broke, we'll sit down and we'll help you go through and say, okay, let's look at your taxes. Let's look and see and all of that. And then we work with them so that they can get that money that they need to inject into their business and to continue growing. And then one of the other reasons why I love working with Access Plus Capital is because of the fact that you get that loan. It's not, hi, okay, make your monthly payments and we're done with you. We do quarterly visits. We look at your financials. We look at who you are, where you are, and how we can help you grow that business to where you're not only paying us back, but eventually you're going to fit into that traditional banking box.
And so I keep hearing that's kind of where you want people to graduate to, is you really want them to move on to the point that they do qualify for that community bank loan, or if they even need financing, maybe at some point they get to where they pay back your loan and they're able to be self-sufficient with the cash flow they're bringing in, maybe.
Yes.
Is that?
And we want to see you grow.
Exactly.
I mean, you might even be home-based. You can start home-based. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I was just talking to one of our clients that has a food truck. They started off with a pop-up tent. They started off with a pop-up. They started going to seedy nightclubs in the middle of the night. It's 12 o'clock in the morning, and they're firing up the grill. They know that the club's going to be out after last call. People are going to come out hungry. And so they started grilling then, and they would serve all the clients, line, down the sidewalk, and then pack up and go. But now they've graduated to having their food trailer, and they've got several pop-ups. They can do 3 or 4 events at a time, and their goal is to have 3 trucks in 5 years, and they're on track for that. So you can get your business funded, and then maybe you want to have multiple locations. Maybe you want to go statewide. It's as big as your dream is. We're here to support that. So that's my passion. What Buffy was saying is true. Where we're with you every step of the way, and we really look at it more as allyship. Like, we're your cheerleaders, we're your coaches, we're there. If you don't know what a financial projection is, that's fine, because we do, and we can help you get those numbers together. You don't have a profit and loss, that's okay. We can explain to you what that is and help you make those projections so you can know what's coming in, what's going out, how much should you be spending on marketing or food costs, or how much should you pay these employees. Let's help you, and let's help build the businesses that you would want to work at, because ultimately businesses create jobs, and jobs provide resources to the community. People need work, and it's a benefit. So that's the kind of the nonprofit heart behind Access Plus Capital. We don't look at you as a risk. The banks, and we're partners with plenty of banks. Don't get me wrong. We really do love the banks. We need the banks, and we do work together. But we don't have to assess you as how big of a risk are you to us. We can look at your story and think, how big of a benefit are you going to be to your community, to your family, to your neighborhood, to the generations that are coming behind you? The community needs you and your vision and your ideas. So come on and let's see where you are. And if we can't fund you immediately, we can still work with you to get to the place where you are fundable, and then just keep growing with you from there. We're allies in that sense.
Yeah, I love that. I want to circle back to something Buffy said, just so that the viewers are understanding. So when you do get this type of funding, they do have, they'll get into it eventually, where it's no collateral, low interest rates, which you already kind of alluded to. But one of the other requirements that Buffy said is that they meet with you quarterly and they go over those financial statements. So Buffy, I'd like you to explain a little bit of what a quarterly meeting would look like from the aspect, and then also talk about, because I'm the accountant here in the room, and sometimes when you are trying to grow and you are having this funding, you have to also be careful that you're reading the financial statements the correct way, because you can get a loan and expand, but that expansion is actually hurting you. Mm-hmm. So making sure that you're not expanding too much, where then you can sustain without having the funding. So can you explain a little bit what that quarterly meeting might look like?
So when you actually sign a loan and you get a loan, one of the things that we do is we have it's called a TA plan. So you sit down and with the person, Raquel would be the person, she's writing up the loan and everything. They would go over and say, what assistance do you need? Do you understand financials? Do you understand how to do marketing? Do you understand all those basic fundamental things that you need to do for your business to grow? And then the person would check off what they need. And then what would happen is, once the loan's funded, after that first quarter, I contact them. Usually I meet them when they're signing loan documents and stuff like that. I'll contact them and say, okay, it's time to come out to a site visit. Let's see what's going on. Do you have your profit and loss statement, this and that? Some of our clients, it's just a quarterly visit. I look at their financials. We talk about the business. Everything's going great, something like that. Other clients we have where they need a little bit more help in the area of understanding their financials, where they need a little bit more help in the area of marketing their business, how they can bring more customers in the door. I offer those, as Access Plus Capital offers that as a one-on-one. I'll go in, we'll sit down, we'll talk, we'll meet. Whether we meet quarterly or weekly until they understand what's going on, we teach them the tools that they need to grow that business, to understand that they're not over expanding, that they are actually growing the business and not hurting the business. Now, there are times where projects get too big, and I am only one person here in Bakersfield, Kern, because we service Kern, Tulare, Inyo, and Kings County. So we will partner with other business consultants here in Bakersfield to help us. Kern Women's Business Center is one of them. We also partner with the chambers and stuff like that to bring in consultants that could help them if I'm unavailable or if I don't have the knowledge, which there's so much to business. Sometimes you just can't know it all. So it's a partnership. When you open your business, you are not standing there alone doing it. You actually have a team of people behind you. If I can't help them, I can always call on the Kern Women's Business Center. I could call on the SBDC. I can call on any of the other organizations here in town that could help them. And in that case, if they're unable to, we have other partners here that we work with that would also step in to help too, or myself included. If I need to know, QuickBooks, a lot of people don't know how to use QuickBooks.
It's facts.
Yeah. And so in my spare time, I am becoming QuickBooks certified just because it's something that we need in our community. So, it's a partnership. You're not doing it alone. I know so many business owners that they feel like they're doing it alone. Their family don't believe in them. They have this going on and all this personal stuff going on, and then the business, and they're just like, it's just not working. They have that support. And that's one of the things I love about Bakersfield is that entrepreneurial spirit that no matter what, we all support each other when it comes to a business.
Yeah, that's really true. When people are coming to you and you do go through those questions with them, you touched on some of them. So there's the accounting aspect and employment and facilities and so many marketing you mentioned. There's all these different aspects of the business. What stands out as one of those areas where people regularly say, I need help here. This is where I need help. And what do you see being a common challenge to just about everybody who comes through the door?
From everything that I've seen so far, there's two. The financials. That one's really, it's scary. A lot of people want to run their business as if they're running their home. And you can't really run your business like you're running your home. You need to keep track of them. You need to keep track of all your expenses.
No commingling.
Exactly. No commingling. No. I don't know how many times I say that sentence in a week.
Same.
But the other thing too is marketing. People just don't understand how to use social media to market. They don't understand that there's so many. They think they have to pay thousands of dollars to market their business. And it's like, no, there's so many free things you could do. Literally, there's so many free things you can do. And so it's those are the two most, I think, misunderstood aspects of running a business that people just, they think, oh, I'm going to do this because it's my passion and I love it. Oh, I don't want to run the business. They want to work the business. They want to be over here working the business. They don't want to be over here behind scenes running the business. And I even offer tips on how to get free help running your business. Hook up with BC, hook up with SJBC, get some interns in here, have them come in and answer the phones for you or shift through those receipts. They need extern hours and they need to volunteer and figure out how they can, run a business too, because that's what they're going to school for. And it's free help to you. And then when they finish their hours, they move on, graduate, do what they're going to do. But you're a little step closer to understanding how you can run your business because you have that free help.
Be clear on that free help thing because some businesses and things don't apply for free non-paid entrepreneurship, especially in California. So you have to be careful just for the viewers listening. Right. You have to go through a process through the schools and not every business qualifies for a non-paid internship, just to be
Thank you, Amanda.
Clear on that.
Well, they're lucky to have you in that aspect as they're coming to you because, like you say, there's not a bank that would say, well, if on these pieces that you don't know how to do, we'll also help show you how to do them. So you mentioned some of the pieces of the business as barriers. Are there other barriers these days that you're seeing just in somebody who wants to start their own business where they go, okay, I want to start my own business, but I'm hung up here or there. What are some of those things that people struggle with when it comes to just getting started? Because I get the impression that a lot of people come to you when they already have a business running and they need more funds, or they need funds for a new piece of the business. But I also get the impression that you do have a lot of people who are just come to you with an idea, right? But they don't know what to do next. What are those barriers that they're struggling with?
One of the biggest one that I've seen a lot, it's the bad credit or the no credit. We can have somebody, the owner, having in that barrier. If we're going to talk in a financial institution, you may have the owner with awesome, great credit. You don't have business history, business credit. That loan doesn't exist. You may have 5 years in your business, but you never have had any business credit card, business credit. It's kind of like when you build your own credit, right? People, companies are giving you credit based off of that credit that you have. So one of the biggest challenges that they have is having that bad credit, especially when we really are trying to help our minority community. And one thing I see is that credit history that they don't have. And what do? No bank wants to give me a loan. And this is where we work with them. We don't just do that rejection. We work with them, guide them how we can get that credit score. Just to talk a little bit about with the credit that we request, and some people are, wow, they get very impressed. We just ask for a 620 credit score. And what happens is that struggle that they're having and them not being able to start that business, it has a lot to do with that funding that they need for that business. Credit is important, but it's not our number one priority. It's our priority is to get you there. We will help you get there. Once you get there, we will give you that startup loan. We will give you that $10, $20, $50, $100,000 loan for a startup loan, with that business plan, with that vision that you have. So yes, for us is that bad credit or that no credit that these business owners get rejected. And that's why I'm very proud where I work at, because with the community that we're reaching to, it's been a challenge. It is a challenge for them. Not only that, it's a challenge for any business owner. You have a great credit score. You don't have a business credit history. That bank will not want to make business with you because there is no history that you can provide them. Definitely, I always encourage any business owners to, when you start your business, try to get that small little credit card under the business name. Any offers that they have, take it. Because that's going to help you with those loans, with those lines of credit that you're going to need for your expansion. Because you have to believe in yourself. And I always believe in our clients that you will expand. You're getting the small loan now, but let's expand. Let's do your taxes right. Let's do your financials right and show us, because when you come and see me for a loan, I'm going to ask for financials of your 2 years of restaurant. Let's look if your loan can sustain, if your business can sustain this loan, right? This $500,000 loan. So we need to see that it can sustain it. So do your financials right, do your taxes right, and also get that business credit going as well.
I would say another thing, a barrier that I've seen by working in the community and working in a lot of local nonprofits is they're not aware of local resources. So, for example, how to even start a business. Kern County's top 10 in the nation for starting small businesses. But then when you look at 3-5 years down the line, that number drops. And that's because they're not forming the business the right way. They're not doing their taxes correctly, their financials correctly. They're not going to resources like the Women's Business Center or KITE, which is the Kern Initiative for Talent and Entrepreneurship, which provides mentorship, free mentorship, to make sure you are doing the right things in your business. And then podcasts like the one we're on today, or YouTube channels that are explaining different things that you can be doing to set up your business properly. I think that's among all the financial things that we're talking about, I don't think they're setting up their companies properly, and then 4 years down the line, 2 years even down the line. They didn't do sales tax properly. They didn't do their income taxes properly. They didn't set up their business license properly. They didn't know that their LLC has to, I filed my LLC on my personal taxes. Is it not the same? No. Or I didn't know I have to file with the Secretary of State on this and that. And I think working with local resources like the chambers and the community resource centers that we have here in town, which are free resources to people, like, can help you be successful in your business.
And that's one of the things we do, is we point them in that direction. We help them, and I can help someone do a business plan, and I can help a lot of people do a lot of things, but in all honesty, we're only one person. So we need to partner with KITE. We need to partner with the SBDC. We need to partner with Kern Women's Business Center so that we can help more people. The only way we're going to be able to help more people here in Bakersfield is if we all partner together.
So here at we're in the mortgage business here at Level 1 Financial, so not so much business loans, but we see a lot of mortgage applications, and that we see a lot of self-employed borrowers. And I will tell you, notoriously, somebody comes to us with a good, profitable business, but they are writing off a lot of expenses and not depreciation. I'm not talking about that kind that you can add back in, but I'm talking about the kind that makes it to where you just don't have an income, and people are trying to buy a house for the first time or do so many things. Maybe they're just trying to do refinance or something, but it's tough. It's a tough crossroads because we really need 2 years, really 1 year at least, of profitable self-employed business of some kind, but really preferably 2, and the good credit and things like that. So our threshold will probably be a lot higher than the loans that you guys are able to do. But I'm curious though, what is your advice when somebody does bring you their financials and they say, well, I'm making money, but there's a lot of cash, or I'm making money, but there's a lot of expenses that I'm writing off. I just see that keep a lot of people out of the more mainstream, mortgage loan borrowing. And so I don't know, do you guys see that a lot as well?
We do. I do. Yeah. And it's sometimes it's just, sad to see. Like they point out that they have, a $500,000 company or $1 million company, and their financials don't show that. And really, for me, is that educational piece is very important, very important. And how I feel that it is my right to educate them on how, all those write-offs that you made, it's only hurting your business. Now it's growing. Now you need that building. I with these numbers, I can't give you that $500,000 land or restaurant or 5 more trucks for your business or equipment for your business. When I've helped a lot of startup clients, I just love to have that conversation with them. You're new in business. This is what's coming, and report it. It's
good to show an income.
Show it because I want to help you in 2 years from now with all your machines, all your trucks you're going to buy, that land you're going to buy, to put your trailers, but also understanding their dream, understanding where they're going with their business. So I like to have them tell me their story and their future and what the future of that business is, because I'm able to educate them and say, great, this is what, when this happens, you're going to do taxes for the business. You're going to come here in a year, 2 years from now, and I hope I can help you with that expansion. This is what we're going to want to see. In order, all banks, when they give you a loan, they're going to look at your 2 years, 3 years taxes.
Got to have those taxes.
But to have them correct, I think the main issue, first and foremost, I don't know. I honestly feel like if you're a business owner, you should be hiring a tax professional or an accountant who's going to be sitting down with you and explaining these things and teaching you. There's accountants out there are all different brackets of income and for businesses. So I really think they're not an expense, they're an asset to you. So stop thinking about an accountant as an expense and somebody who's there to actually protect you and help you. So many times I've had people, because I do tax returns, and I have clients who come to me that I don't do their books. And I have documents they have to fill out. out. And I'm like, well, where's your P&L? Where's your balance sheet? Well, I don't even know what that is. Okay, well, fill this out and give me some of the, well, how did you come up with this number? How are you reconciling your bank statements? Do you know? And most of them don't even know what reconciliation is. And so I feel like you guys are probably running into that too. Like, how can you even trust the P&L or balance sheet that they're providing? Because they're most likely not reconciling or doing their own books the right way. So again, like, hire an accountant, hire a tax professional. I know it hurts your bottom line and it's taking away from what you're getting paid, but they're there to help you expand. They're help you to protect you, and so that you can keep growing in the right way. I mean, that would be like my best advice, that business owners need to like start looking into a lot more and start. A lot of them are afraid. I think that's when I first started my business. A lot of small businesses were like, well, CPAs are too scary to talk to, or some CPAs charge for consulting fees and like all these things, and they didn't think it was obtainable. And so that's where I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start doing all these free resources and partnering up with a lot of local nonprofits, because they're so afraid to get that, and it's hurting them, and they're going out of business in 2 years because they didn't know all the things that they needed to do. In my initial consultation, I ask, what is your 2 to 5 year plan in your business and personal? Because if you are trying to buy a house, because, you know, I'm in the office here with Scott and they need to get a mortgage loan, and these business owners, well, I'm not going to be taking all these expenses that I can take and write-offs because we need to be showing more income. But if I don't know that you're trying to buy a house in 2 years and we take all these write-offs, you're not going to qualify.
You know, I think people are notoriously thinking too small. And so I think that a business a lot of times will start up kind of organically, and then they kind of want to fly under the radar. Maybe if I don't kind of tell anybody about this income, or if I get, you know, if I'm able to write a lot off, I don't have to, you know, pay the taxes on it and things like that. But, you know, I'm like you guys. I really encourage people to think bigger, because, you know, you're looking in a very small window of time in the next year or two. How about 5 years down? How about 10 years down the road? How do you scale this business? And then go ahead and have a good income and pay a couple bucks in taxes, but then you start to qualify for all these other things that will just catapult you to the next level. I mean, it's really only limited by your level of ambition and what you want to do next, right? Is I'm sure you guys are going through the same conversation. I'm preaching to the choir here.
Yeah, no, what's funny though is I think sometimes we forget about cultural norms, and being in the Central Valley, the amount of poverty that people are raised around. So if you've grown up in the struggle, if you've grown up where survival is a priority, if you're in fight or flight, you're not thinking there's no 5-year plan, there's no 10-year plan. It's how am I going to eat tomorrow? And if you've been raised like that, the cultural norms surrounding money, like don't ask, don't tell, is a common way that parents raise their kids. They're not sitting them down and showing them the expenses of the household and how I'm paying this. Some communities, you know, the money is cash under the mattress. They don't bank at all. You know, they're trying to not pay their taxes, or, you know, I've got a friend, he hasn't paid taxes in like 3 years. You got to do this. You know, they might not have found you yet, but Uncle Sam is always watching. You know, getting into just the psychology of it. You mentioned afraid, fear. There's fear. There's also shame. And so part of what we have to do is build that trust. Ask those questions. What were the attitudes surrounding money growing up? There's people that have grown up in communities where borrowing money, loans, it's frowned upon. There's the borrower is servant to the lender, and all of these money practices that they've grown up with, and then showing, well, wait a minute. If you want to open up a restaurant and you can't afford to have good food at your restaurant, you're never going to be able to have the clientele to make the money to purchase the better beef. They're not coming back. And so some things you have to start right with proper funding, proper financing. You want to be fully funded, and teaching people how to dream. You know, I was thinking today about the poverty of imagination. When you don't know how to imagine what it's going to look like in 5 years or 10 years, because all you can imagine is what you've got right now, and you've got your kitchen, you've got the money that you've got for food, and you've got grandma's recipes. And so helping people to imagine. You might be doing hair in your house. You might have gone to a trade school and you're looking at your student loans that are due right now, and you're a manicurist, and so all I can think is I've got to do hair or nails or whatever my trade is in my house, or get a job someplace. And so learning to meet people where they are, and then show them these are the tools that you need to get where you want to go. And where do you want to go? So helping people imagine. is really important, and understanding those cultural norms, you might have been taught to get as much back as possible from the government. You might have grown up from a community that celebrated every time you got your tax refund. Tax refund time is time to go shopping. Now we get new shoes, we get some furniture, you've needed a mattress. If that's how you grew up, then you're going to be thinking, I need to take all the write-offs as possible to keep my income as low as possible so that I can get a refund back, because that big check is what we've been waiting for all year. Now I can take the kids to Disneyland. And so when you recognize that that's the mindset that they're coming from, then you can work with people and be like, I understand that. I understand. I have friends that started businesses and they were like, well, all I've got is my monthly food stamps. Well, you know what? You can bake. So now you can get some flour and some sugar and some eggs, and you can bake some cupcakes, and you can sell those cupcakes, and you can start to dream. You like doing this. Maybe one day you could have a bakery. Yeah. And so helping people dream and being there as an ally, being there every step of the way. You don't know how to do your projections. You're right. Your profit and loss, they don't know what it is. They can be faking it.
Yeah.
Well, then we can refer them to you. And you can ask. If you have that trust, then people are more likely to ask you the questions they're embarrassed to ask. You don't have to know everything. Our job is to help you fill in the gaps that you don't know to get you to where you want to be. We're definitely a bridge in that sense. You know where you are, you know where you want to be, and getting there is the hard part, but we can help you get there. And not necessarily hand-holding, because we're adults. We don't want our hand held, but we do want a companion. We want somebody that we can call and be like, they're asking for this. I don't even know what it is. Well, you know what? Buffy does. So give Buffy a call, because she's gonna help you get that piece of paper. And that's, I think, the biggest difference. That's what makes us not a bank. That's what makes us a CDFI, a community development financial institution. We're here for the community. We're a part of the community. A lot of us on the team have very similar backgrounds and can tell stories. And, we know what it's like when the lights don't come on when you flip the switch. And so, we're having a candlelight dinner tonight, kids, so we can relate. And when you're fully human, because you don't have a relationship like that often with your banker.
Oh, no.
But
I don't think you do.
You can have a relationship. We can relate. We can share those stories. I think all three of us are moms. We can relate. We get it.
Well, I think what you're talking about is really, fundamentally changing that mindset that is really ingrained for like generations, and even today in media and things like that. It's not being preached enough. What you just now
we don't have
said. Yeah.
We gotta pull each other up.
Yeah, but that's really what needs to happen, is where people are hearing that it's it's good to succeed, it's good to do things the right way, it's good to do your financials the right way, and go about this as a real business instead of kind of a side thing that may or may not turn out. I mean, believe in yourself. I think that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, I enjoy that.
Oh, I was going to say, it's teaching them how to leave a legacy. Basically, we're teaching new business owners, we're existing business owners that are trying to scale up, how to leave a legacy. That business is not just going to die when they die. That their children, their grandchildren are going to be able to continue growing that business. And that, I think, is like one of the most important things to be able to teach a person.
And that too has got to be something that they just don't come in the door thinking, usually right off the bat, right? No. That's a new concept, probably.
You have to ask them. You have to dig it out of them. You have to sit and say, okay, where do you see this going? What's going to happen to this if you were to die tomorrow? And then they like, well, I don't want to think like that. Well, but we need to. We need to.
What I've seen a lot doing this community outreach and talking to different business owners, or even business owners coming to us for help, it just makes my heart, there's a lot of people that don't have the knowledge, and they have a dream, and they already have this business, but they don't have the knowledge of who to seek to, who to go to for lending. A lot of them, it's, I want to hold their hand. I had a client called me saying, I think I talked to 10 different banks. I think she said, I have a headache, I'm about to give up. My husband, he is a chef and a manager at a restaurant for 19 years, and I need help. the owner is selling the building when we want to buy this building. And she was so thankful. She probably calls me every other day and we chat for about an hour. She just calls me just to tell me how she feels and how stressful it is thinking about a business, thinking about her owning a business, thinking about how the resources and where do I go? SBA, you know, where do I find a solution to buy this business, to find that money, right? And I do see, you know, and it's just brings me so much joy that I wake up every day loving what I do, because I see business owners. You may see them that their business looks great, and you may think, you know, that you don't know their struggles of paying employees, that capital that we need. And this is where we come in and give them that capital. You know, you don't have to wipe out your bank account. We can give you that capital for expanding for your payroll, for that second location that you want to get. And it just really fills me with joy, just being able to help our community like this, and knowing that, you know, these business owners need lenders like us, and because they're being turned down by banks. And I can't express myself, you know, our loans go through a committee approval. For so many years, I spent typing in your information on a computer and seeing that denial, right? Or seeing an approval for this short amount. But I need $20,000. I only got approved for $5,000. So your story goes to a committee, to a room of people that hear that story, that hear your dream. And that's how your loan gets approved through us. And that makes me really happy that there's people, you know, we have a committee thinking about that person and saying, that is great. They're going to offer more employment. They're going to do hiring. They're expanding. They have a dream. And, you know, yes, on that loan, right? Versus, you know, that denial that just a computer system did because, you know, of credit, for example, or you didn't have enough business credit. But wait, I just started like a month ago and I have this passion, and you come in and then you just feel like, you know, you feel like your doors are shut. And I always tell my clients or business owners, and it doesn't have to be my client, it's when one door shuts, another one opens. Do not give up. Do not stop here, because there is so much help out there for you. And if I will, you know, I sometimes let them know, I'll see and I'll talk to this person, and then I give them that hope again. So, and this is what I share coming into Access Plus Capital, that we all have that same passion. All of the business development managers here, all the ones that process the loans, to our director, to our, you know, marketing, we all have that same passion of helping our community, our business owners within that community in the Central Valley.
I'm really glad to know that Access Plus Capital exists, ladies. I think you guys are doing great work out there. If after the show somebody wants to reach out to you guys and get more information, if they want to come in and see you guys, what's the best way to get in touch?
We just expanded. Okay. So we had one office here since, I want to say 2017. We had an office, and we just expanded. We are on Mohawk.
Okay.
And you definitely could reach out to me. I'm the business development manager here in Bakersfield.
Okay.
Would you like for me to provide our number?
We'll put it in
yeah, go ahead. We'll put it in the show notes, but go ahead and phone number, email address, website, anything you got.
You can email me at raquel.jimenez@accesspluscapital.com. You can look us up at Access Plus Capital, the website. Definitely all our contact numbers are there, from our Fresno Center to the Bakersfield Center. All of our loans are there, from the startups. And I love our website, because typically we have what the startup loans need, the requirements, the list of requirements, what a microloan, what do you need for a microloan? 3 years of taxes, 3 years of, so you, before even contacting us and saying, well, what am I going to need to apply with them? As soon as you open that website and you go to a startup loan, it gives you that list of what you're going to need, and a big button saying apply now. That lead comes to us, and you'll receive a phone call from us.
Wonderful. Ladies, thank you very much for being on the show today. I know you've helped a lot of our listeners out already, and so I can't wait for some of them to get in contact with you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
The show has been brought to you by the Law Office of Kyle Jones, Troy Burton with the Lynn Company, CPA John Duffield, Scott Hansen Real Estate Lender, broker and investor, Dave Plivlich, President and CEO of the Marcom Group and MarcomBranding.com, and Amanda DiGiacomo, President of Atlas Financial Solutions. You've been listening to the Our 2 Cents podcast. Check out the show notes for links and more information about the show. Also visit our website at our2centspodcast.com or catch us on Instagram at Our 2 Cents Podcasts. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share with others.